the role or job of the divine feminine is to be a conduit of creation, a fountain of eros and compassion, creativity, inspiration, relational intimacy. And many divine feminines right now, usually those embodied as women, but not always, who are on an awakening journey, may be feeling this tug of war between who they've been conditioned to be and who the divine has designed them to be. So I'm sharing this message as your permission slip. And this is going to be massively controversial to most people. Only up until recently, this was massively controversial even to my own conditioned, programmed personality identity. But you're not here to work per se. Let's just strip everything back for a moment. Work is a construct. We have decided collectively on money as a shared value system. In Western Western civilization, you could leave the civilized part out, but in the Western world, we have collectively decided that engaging in the current systems of capitalism and consumerism and operating under kind of a patriarchal paradigm, that is the way we're choosing to live. We're choosing that. It's a choice. When you observe indigenous populations, those that have not yet been muddied by the waters of highly kind of contrived and consumerist ways, you'll see that they don't have jobs or roles in the same way that we do. They have an entirely different paradigm and way of being. That's their choice. So we have to first, if we're going to understand the conversation that I'm entering into today, we have to first understand that the entire paradigm around work is a construct and it's a choice. And I can already hear, the ego mind battling and retorting. I don't choose to work, I have to work. Okay. That's your conditioning. Step back from your conditioning and recognize that you are just a spiritual being embodied and that there are actually no rules. You're choosing through the conditioned programming that you're investing in to believe that that is what you need to do. That's a choice. Own your choice. If you don't like it, change it. So this is the conversation that we're having today because it's important. And I'm speaking mainly to the Divine Feminine Collective because it's the Divine Feminines that most need to unravel from this bullshit. We are not here to work. No one on earth has incarnated to work the roles that the fear-based matrix deems completely normal. It's a choice. If you choose to work within the system and you choose to resign yourself to that paradigm, that's your choice. But we are living in a quantum multidimensional experience where we get to choose as creators of our own experience with our consciousness, with the embodiment of our sovereignty or the lack thereof, what experience we have. And as I continue to move through my evolutionary journey, reclaim more of my inherent worth and value as a being, not from what I do or produce, but from simply being who I am, my true being, my true luminous essence, and vibrating as that, I recognize the bullshit of modern culture and all of the conditioning that I've been trying to confine myself to and define myself by. I felt incredibly guilty and wrong and bad because I don't and can't work like most other people. I mean, I'm a projector in human design, so I know that energetically I'm designed differently to 70 to 80% of the population. But beyond even that differentiation, there is just an innate knowing within my being that I haven't come here to emulate what is commonplace. I've come here to pattern interrupt. And it's only been recently that I've realized how deeply I'm here to pattern interrupt. So much so that it's actually deeply uncomfortable to my own egoic conditioning in nature to digest what's emerging as truth within me. That I've come here to be. We've all come here to be. But we have to realize that. We have to self-actualize in that, as that. I've come here to be. I haven't come here to adhere to 6 societal standards. I've come here to be in my most exalted form, in my most expressed creative form, beyond any roles or boundaries. And as I continue to deepen in my connection to the Earth Mother, the Cosmic Divine Mother, as Kundalini Shakti continues to purify me of all of the bullshit that we've accumulated, inherited, absorbed, being in a fear-based matrix, being steeped in a fear-based matrix with so much distortion, one thing is becoming very apparent to me, that the Divine Feminine is the lubricant of life force energy. She makes everything joyous, sweet, beautiful, sensual, uplifting, inspiring. I'm in the most gorgeous spot in nature, very unexpectedly. And I just got my eyes, I was walking down one path and my eyes just got drawn, and I got drawn to this exact spot with the most beautiful view. These majestic trees. And nature is such a reminder. The Divine Mother incarnated as Mother Earth is such a reminder that there is no rule that we're here to abide by. There are no standards. Nature is infinitely expressive, infinitely creative. Look at our Earth Mother. She doesn't play by rules. She does as she is. She just is in her naturally expressed form. And we judge her and we try and condemn her and manipulate her and coerce her into certain shapes and forms. But she just is. She is in her bounty, naturally. She doesn't need to believe something in order to be in that bounty. She just is the bounty. The feminine is the bounty. And when we try as divine feminines to contract ourselves and contort ourselves to fit certain societal standards, or standards of our partners who are heavily conditioned, standards of our families who are heavily conditioned, standards of the workplace that are just, completely loyal to the prevailing paradigm, then we deny the truth of our essence as a naturally, innately creative, bountiful, expressive, multidimensional, dynamic beings. We all have this potentiality within us. We all carry the divine feminine within us, but it's usually most embodied and expressed and emanated by those who have incarnated as women. And so as we kind of unravel this conditioning around the need to work, an entirely new paradigm and an entirely new dimension of consciousness opens up. Because we are no longer trying to take this magnificent force and stream of life force energy flowing through us and diminish it and demean it and stuff it into a tiny role or box or condition. We are allowing it to flow amply with complete freedom. And that's where innovation comes, and that's where pioneering ways come. That's where creativity, which is, of course, in and of itself always pioneering, that's where we truly start to evolve and innovate as beings on this planet. When we allow ourselves to be creative, when we allow ourselves to rest in our inner mastery and artistry, not as a role or as a subject of someone else. We are sovereign. To be sovereign is to be in a state of self-governance, self-authority, not authority to the ego, authority to the divine, to the one true source creator, as an emanation of the one true source. And the feminine principle, expression of the one true source, is here in this infinite dance between Shakti and Shiva, the masculine and the feminine, to be the muse, to inspire, to uplift, to lubricate, to animate consciousness, to express the all of the I am. It is a constant marriage, a holy dance between the two, and there are no limits to that. So perhaps you also, particularly after this Venus retrograde, this Venus, Mars, Mercury retrograde period we've been in over the last sort of 6 months or so, for me it's been profound, like deep underworld journey, excavating so much conditioning, seeing so many limitations, moving so much traumatic content and imprinting through my body, and freeing up and liberating so much energy, so much life force, so much Shakti coming online, and seeing beyond ever more barriers, limitations, belief systems, false grids, and returning to truth. And it's a truth that's disruptive because so many people are in states of disempowerment in relation to their reality. They don't understand yet, they haven't yet self-realized as the creator and the one that actually influences and informs reality. They see themselves at the mercy of their reality. Not everyone is going to make this journey, but those of us that are here to anchor and embody the new earth energetics, we already innately know this. We've come here to embody this frequency as creators, as sovereign beings, to return and terraform this earth plane, this earthly plane, this dimension of reality, to one of freedom and liberation, free of conditions. I won't lie, we're up against some Titan forces, Titan-like forces. I'm not going to go into that today, but I've absolutely bawled my heart out on the way here, feeling cracked open by what I'm observing, by what these forces are trying to enact and enforce on humanity. The ways in which the innocence of humanity is being betrayed, the innocence of the animal kingdom, the natural kingdom, the Earth Mother is being betrayed again and again and again because of the very same paradigm that keeps us locked into these limited states and roles. I do not serve those forces, nor do I serve that paradigm. As a divine feminine, you have been encoded with a gnosis that you have come here to liberate, disrupt, rewild the energetics of this earth. You're going to receive judgment, people's projections, distorted ideas thrown at you, and you've got to make peace with that. And you've got to be well embodied in your value as a being that is not conditional, that value and worth is not in relation to your productivity or outcome. It's just who you are. You being is your value. You being incarnated is your value. You being your authentic self is your value. You being in total cohesion and harmony with your true self is your value, because you vibrate that truth into the field. That's your inherent value right there. It's not what you produce or how many hours you grind for the slave system. And feed that bullshit that's keeping humanity disempowered, at the mercy of these unseen forces? No. The divine feminine has come here to disrupt and to rewild. And the earth is awakening us. Her bounty and her wildness is awakening us. Our hearts recognize it. When we look at her, we remember ourselves. We remember our truth. It takes courage to walk this path, to remember this, that we are innately free, that we were born to be free, and that this is not just a concept and it's an idea, it can be an embodiment. It is an embodiment. It's a gnosis, it's a direct knowing, and it's a field we've come here to reestablish. Earth and humanity as one, free, sovereign, collective. One breath, one body, free. One breath, one body, one heart, free. And the feminines lead with this. The feminines are leading with this. The divine feminines are leading with this. Last year in my connection with my ex-partner, this truth was emerging within me. And I noticed that because of his paradigm, where he's anchored in a very sort of 3D perspective still, I felt tremendous shame and guilt for recognizing the true role of the divine feminine. I felt such guilt. And I just wished and hoped, I thought, if you could just elevate your consciousness, expand to see what I am trying to anchor here, we could be so prosperous together. Because the feminine is abundance. When you unlock this knowing within you, divine feminine, wealth does not come from slavery. Wealth does not come from slaving your soul away. Wealth does not come from you being a slave to others and denying yourself. Wealth comes from your marriage to the truth. Wealth comes from your marriage to the divine. Wealth comes from your innate marriage to embodiment of your divine vibration. The anchoring in your presence, the anchoring in your I am, the anchoring in your exalted queen energetics as someone that is fiercely loyal to herself, her truth, her needs, her values, her dreams, her desires as an innately creative being, as a creatrix. Not in a selfish way that completely diminishes and denies the needs of others, that bulldozes over those. But I think we also have to even reframe selfishness in this conversation. We have made selfishness to be something that is bad. It's bad to think of myself. Well, if you do not think of yourself in individuated states, you become a martyr. That is also not the highest energetics that we're here to live and embody from. That's not truth. Martyrdom is not truth. Truth is sovereignty. Truth is overflow. Truth is marriage to the divine which is all-seeing, all-knowing, all-pervasive, all-abundant. Everything we have comes from the one true source. No exceptions. When you are in marriage with that frequency, that gnosis, that field, that intelligence, you understand yourself as limitless. You understand that you are not here to be ruled by or governed by earthly standards. You answer to one only, one authority only. Your inner authority in marriage to the true source creator. So this is a call to action to the divine feminines who have been feeling restless, trying to diminish and deny themselves, fit themselves and contort themselves into boxes and standards that diminish and deny your beauty, your majesty, your regality, your sensuality, your expression, your force as a creatrix on this earth, as a being that is here to birth paradigms, birth art, birth innovative ways, birth love, more love, more love, more love into this world. This is your call to action, divine feminines. Enough. This is your permission slip. Rise with me. Rise with all of the women that have walked before us and all of the women that are rising now. That we are here to elevate the energetics of this planet out of slavery and into sovereignty. And our connection to our hearts, divine feminines, because we access the unconditionally divine, loving templates. We access the unconditional love templates first, generally. Especially if we're on a twin flame sacred union path. We're the ones that access this dimension of consciousness first. We understand the true nature of abundance. And in a world that's so engrossed in the 3D, so engrossed in materiality, the rest of the world is looking for evidence and conditions. Meanwhile, we know that this true abundance is unconditional, that it cannot be defined or captured with anything on earth. We understand it. We understand it's an inner emanation first. And it's our duty and responsibility to live and vibrate as that truth, to inform the field of this truth, to terraform the earth, to vibrate as this truth, beyond limits. This is how we elevate ourselves to the new earth paradigm. This is how we reclaim our power from a system and from factions and forces that are intent on keeping humanity in deep states of unconsciousness and in a state of slumber. Rise as the lioness you came here to be. Rise in your divine frequency, your divine sovereignty. Your only task now, from this vantage point, my dears, is to tune in and ask yourself, What am I authentically being called to create, to be, to embody as, to disseminate and emanate into the field? Not from any conditioned ideas about, oh, but I've got to do this to get this, and I've got to be this to be loved, and I've got to, slave my soul away to get money. Rise above this paradigm and recognize that it is God that provides for you. It is the goddess that provides for everything we have in manifested creation. None of our money and our items, our materiality comes from a person or an employer or a parent. It comes from the divine. Remember the true source. Honor and revere the true source. Come into marriage with the true source. God is now your CEO. The goddess is now your CEO. You take orders and directives from one source only. So open your heart, awaken your womb, allow these beautiful portals to inform you that your being is a chalice for creation, a chalice for overflow. You are the Holy Grail. Embody in these energetics and allow what you came here to create and emanate to flow through you and overflow from you to support all of life. Something that came to me last year was that the twin flame sacred union templates have been so inverted that the way in which we create provision for ourselves has been completely distorted and flipped upside down, so that we are operating from a very wounded paradigm as a collective of needing to hustle and grind and strive to make the bare minimum for most people, when if we actually revered and honored the divine feminine in her plenty and her abundance, as matriarchal societies and cultures did in age old, right? If we actually honored and revered the divine feminine, we supported her and we uplifted her, she becomes the chalice for provision. Her frequency, her oracle, and her connection to the earth and to spirit becomes the bridge for all of abundance to flow through her field. All are provided for through her, just as all are provided for from our earthly mother. So actually we correct the twin flame sacred union Hieros Gamos templates by remembering this truth. They will call you lazy. They will call you deluded. They will call you ignorant. They will call you a hippie. They will call you all sorts of names, and you need to wear spiritual noise cancellation headphones in relation to all of that. Let them project their judgments. Set up a divine shield around yourself of light. Set that intention that no weapons used against me shall prosper. Any judgments or attempts to diminish you shall be returned to sender immediately. Stand in that authority. Know that God is protecting you, and walk forwards boldly, courageously as a creatrix. As I start to embody in this energetics myself, I am overflowing with creation energy. I am now able to, as I'm more grounded, more embodied in my truth, and I'm not denying my needs, my values, my boundaries, and I'm anchoring so firmly, rooting so firmly in this embodiment, in this temple, honoring her, honoring this avatar that is allowing me to create on earth, allowing me to expand as a soul, allowing me to become self-aware, illuminated, enlightened, whatever we want to, attribute to that state. As I anchor in this and I steady myself in my truth, the stability we seek as feminines does not come from outside of us. It comes from our own inner coherence with our divine masculine presence, our own inner protector, stability, provider energy, stabilizing energy. The divine masculine within us says, I see you, divine feminine oracle, and I will protect you with fierce boundaries, with the sword of truth. I will stand for you and your capacity as a creatrix, because I know your power and I revere and honor your power. That's what the inner divine masculine does. So when you start to unify in these energetics that I'm speaking of, and you anchor in this, your channel becomes clear to start being open as a conduit. That is exactly what you were designed to be. You were divinely designed to be a conduit and a chalice for creation. You do not need to apologize to anyone. You do not need to feel guilty. You do not need to feel shame. And I'm saying this as much to you as I am to myself, because you know you are encoded with the truth that you came here to embody and vibrate, and that the rest of the world is going to be really disrupted by and really put out by this truth. Most of the world. Some people will love it and feel liberated by it. Those are your people. For everyone else, let them stew in it. Let them stew in whatever this triggers. Let them go on their journey. If it triggers them, brilliant. That's their own self-work to do. Your only role is to open and receive the guidance, receive the imperatives and directives from the divine on how you're here to create and emanate. What does your energy feel alive towards? What inspires you, enlivens you, opens you to more creation energy, more Shakti? Follow that. Follow it unapologetically. Follow it fearlessly. Follow it courageously. Do not explain or justify yourself to anyone. If you are surrounded by people that continue to question you and judge you and ask you to justify yourself and justify your choices, and they are unwilling to open to this paradigm with you, then they're not coming on the journey with you, at least not for now. Lovingly let them go. Your soul fractal, your soul tribe, those rising with you, they're there, they're out there. I'm here, so many others are like us are here. We're rising together. And let everyone else choose their paradigm, make their choice, make their decision about what they choose to invest their energy, time, divine currency in. What occurred to me on the drive over here was that when we have this awareness, we can doubt ourselves and say that we are the odd ones out, right? In a world that kind of considers enslavement normal, considers heavy conditioning normal, considers living from a fear-based vibration normal. We feel wrong. I invite you to now embody as the disruptor and the pioneer that is actually living from truth, and that the rest of the world that is living in accordance with that paradigm of fear is actually, they're the ones not doing their work. Their work is not to be slaves to a system that doesn't honor them. Their work is to evolve themselves out of that system. They haven't awoken to that truth yet. I had a client session, I think, was it last week or a couple of weeks ago, with an ongoing client of mine, and I shared that I was feeling this, that I felt this guilt that I'm not working in the same way that other people do. That's still prevalent for me. And she said, you are doing the work. This is the work, supporting people to rise and empower themselves and elevate out of fear-based conditioning. This is the work. The work is not slaving away for a meager wage and trying to keep pace with this slave system. That's not the work. The work is our spiritual work, to evolve ourselves, to become embodied as the creators we came here to be. That's the work. And I know that if you are resonating with this message, you are an alchemist. You are innately designed and orientated towards embodying the truth of love, the innocence of your heart, being led by your soul. And it's time now to recognize that if you are already embodied in this and orientated towards this, you are doing the work. You are already working on God's authority. So rest into that. Take a deep breath in, exhale, let the shame, the guilt melt away. You are already doing the work you came here to do, Divine Feminine. It's just not the work the rest of the world understands, perceives, acknowledges, or honors yet. But I see you and I honor you, and so does the rest of your soul fractal, and so does the Great Mother, and so does Holy Father. It's time. If you are resonating with this message, I have a seminar, a webinar, an immersion, an online retreat coming up over the weekend, the 3rd and 4th of May, if you're watching this live. This is going to be a deep dive into New Earth relationship templates and energetics. It's going to be juicy, full, rich, so activating, covering our relationship to ourselves, our communication skills in the New Earth, sacred partnership and twin flame dynamics, how we elevate ourselves into New Earth community, how we find our soul fractal, how we build the New Earth together. So much is coming through from this, for this webinar and for this immersion. I would be delighted if you feel the call to have you there with me. It has been an honor to transmit this. It has been liberating for me to transmit this. It is becoming ever more liberating for me to embody this knowing. And I am feeling, seeing, sensing, knowing within the depths of my being, the transformation that is happening from me finally stepping into this level of consciousness. Has it been easy? No. Because I don't have anyone in my field that is leading the way with this, in my personal network, that is living from this vibration. I'm having to pioneer. And I'm pioneering alongside, don't get me wrong, I'm pioneering alongside other sisters, alongside other courageous souls. But it is not easy, because we have an entire manifested creation, which is actually a projection of our past conditioning. So it's the old stuff that we used to believe in and invest in, saying to us that this is wrong, it's lazy, not realizing that when we are anchored in this state of consciousness I'm speaking to, we are wealth. And wealth, prosperity, abundance, creation, harmony, coherence comes with this vibration. It doesn't come from trying to tirelessly slave away at the physical plane and doing nothing spiritually, doing nothing to alter the energetics behind that work. To me, people's obsession with this grind, this paradigm, this patriarchal paradigm of the hustle and the grind is like pouring water into a bucket with holes in the bottom. You're just wasting your energy. Elevate your consciousness. Expand your mind, open your heart, then you will know the truth of wealth, and then you will start to vibrate in coherence with the new earth energetics, where there is no slave system. And you are not a slave, you are sovereign. Sending you so much love, empowerment, and wishing that we all rise together on this journey, all of us, all on my soul fractal. May we find each other, may we rise together, may we reawaken together, may we honor one another, may we see one another, may we hear one another. And this message is also for the divine masculines, because you also carry the feminine principle within you. So this is a call for you to honor your inner creatrix and to honor the creatrixes in your life, the feminine embodiments, the women who honor this template. They are not a problem. We are not lazy. We are not ignorant to the ways of the world. We are elevating beyond the ways of the earthly plane. Come and join us in this paradigm, divine masculines. We need you with us, standing with us. The divine masculine is here to walk alongside, not above or below, alongside, hand in hand with the divine feminine in sovereignty. Let us all rise together now. This is a call to action to all New Earth leaders, architects, creators. Let us all rise together now. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the next transmission.